Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Bryce Sargent. I have been a safety professional for nearly 20 years, and I have trained over 100 safety managers, and it is my passion and what I like to do over here at the Safety Geek to talk about management commitment, building a safety culture, and the psychology of safety. Today, we are talking about building employee engagement using safety lunch and learns. Absolutely love these. These are so much fun, and it's a great way to build engagement with your employees. So, let me start off by telling you about marketing tip. It's kind of like a marketing 101 thing that you have to touch somebody 7 different ways before they buy into what you're selling them. And don't kid yourself, my friends. We are selling them on safety. So we have to touch them multiple ways in order to get them to buy into our safety message. And we talked about this a couple of weeks ago when we talked about systems and processes. So a person must hear the information 7 different times before they buy into it. And the same goes for training, right? We have to figure out ways that we can actually touch them with the information 7 different times in order for them to get buy-in. Safety lunch and learns are such a great way of doing this because it's unique and it kind of adds to it. So it's on top of the training that you're already doing. So what are they? Maybe this is the first time you've ever heard of them. So what they are is basically like a mini coaching session, like a mini training session. They're very comparable to a toolbox talk, but a toolbox talk is done by your frontline supervisors, right? So this is something that you would be doing. And they're very short and it's repeatable information. So like during an entire lunch break, you can repeat it multiple times as different people come up and they want to hear about what you're training them on. It's not a fancy presentation. It's not like we're not going to have a PowerPoint up there. We're not going to have booklets for them to hand out. There's no quizzes involved. It's just not fancy. You could do it with handouts. You can also do presentation boards. So think back to your science fair days. Get yourself a presentation board, set it up in the corner with all your key information that you want to talk about. I love this idea. And these actually are very eye-catching and it makes people easy to participate. They really want to come over and see what you got going on with that board over there, right? The problem with the presentation boards is that they do take time to create. So if you're doing these once a week, you're talking about doing 52 of them. But we'll talk about ways to mix it up. But just remember that they're not fancy. It's basically you talking about a subject, very short and sweet period of time. Now, why do we want to do these? People learn in different ways, right? Especially adults. Everybody learns in a different way. They might have to read the information. They might have to see it. They might have to do a practical evaluation. They might have to see it over and over again before they learn about it. So we have to be creative on how we're teaching them the information that we want them to learn. So you can add to this and it's quick and easy and it just kind of reinforces that safety meeting that you did or whatever your topic of the month happens to be, right? And on top of it, when you do a safety lunch and learn, it allows them time with you, right? So toolbox talks are generally done with a frontline supervisor. This is time with you. And that's a unique time for your employees where they might come up with questions that they don't feel comfortable asking their supervisor. Or better yet, I see this all the time. They will ask me a question just to verify that their supervisor knows what they're talking about. So that's something too. But it gives them one-on-one time with you as well. Not necessarily your lunch and learns one-on-one, but they're generally small groups. So they kind of feel that they have your ear. Another way is that it gets you out of your office and out in the field and with the people that you're trying to affect the most, right? So you get to learn more about them, they get to learn more about you, and it's just another way to build awareness. And I just find them so simple and so fun that why not do them, right? So a couple of weeks ago, we talked about systems and processes, and I went over how you should build a rollout plan and how you should list all the different ways you can touch your employees and pick 7 different ways whenever you're doing a rollout plan. So this can be one of the things that you incorporate into your systems and processes and make sure that you include a lunch and learn in with that process. So how do you do them? Here I am talking about all the benefits of it. So how do you do it? It's actually pretty simple. So you do these during lunch. Now, because it is during their lunch break, it does have to be voluntary. You can't force somebody to go. All right. And these might not work in your industry. So I'm coming from general industry. And in general industry, everybody kind of breaks together in a cafeteria, in a break room or something like that. If you're in like construction, it's probably not going to be like that, where everybody kind of takes a break at the same time, or there's staggered breaks within a short period of time. This will work for you. All right. But because it is a lunch break, you can't make it mandatory because they're off the clock, right? So one way that you can get people to participate is by doing some sort of incentive. I love the punch card idea. Like anytime you participate in a lunch and learn, you get a punch, and if you fill up the punch card, you get like a hat at the end of the card, right? Turn in the card, get a hat, get a t-shirt, get a gift certificate, whatever you want to give them. So you can incentivize participation in order for people to actually participate in it. But you set up one day a week and try to keep it consistent, try to keep it the same day every single week. And you set up in the corner of the break room with your materials. And as people are asking what you're doing, you just go on with your spiel, your little 5 to 10 minute presentation that you can repeat over and over again. You want to keep it to 5 to 10 minutes, closer to 5, the better. So that way it's just really quick information and they can go on about their lunch. All right. So what are you going to fit in that 5 minutes, right? So if your topic of the month happens to be lockout tagout, you're not going to fit the entire lockout tagout program in 5 to 10 minutes. So pick one aspect of it. So like, let's say this week's lunch and learn is going to be on the fact that all of our locks in our lockout tagout program are keyed differently and how we manage that, right? So you pick that one topic and what the policy is, that all the locks are keyed differently. And then the next thing is, why is that important to them? How is that protecting them? Why is it in place? So you want to kind of hook them in with a story, right? You might want to tell a horror story of where all the locks were the same and somebody opened up a lock and someone might have got seriously injured or killed. So tell them a story and hook them into it. Make sure you include why it's important to them. And then you end it with an engaging question. And an engaging question is open-ended. And the easiest way to ask an open-ended question is start that question with how, why, or what. So why are our locks keyed differently? What color are our locks? Where do we keep the keys to our locks? Whatever it happens to be. End it with one open-ended question. So as you're preparing your safety lunch and learn, you might prepare 10 to 15 open-ended questions. And with each group that comes up, you end it with a different open-ended question. And this will give you some feedback. You'll get to understand whether or not your employees are understanding the material. It gets them included in the material. Now, don't get me wrong. You're going to have some people that aren't going to engage with you whatsoever. They're going to walk up and just say, like, punch my card, dude. I'm here. I listened to you for 5 minutes. Punch my card. I want my t-shirt. You're going to get people like that. Don't dwell on that. Know that you are definitely touching people and you are getting that message out. Now, there are ways that you can make these lunch and learns even more fun. So one of the things I love to do with mine is I love to get a flag. So think about like you're on a golf course and you have the green, and the green where the hole is, there's a flag, a pole with a flag. I love to use that. And on the top, on my flag, I have lunch and learn. And if they see the flag right above the whole cafeteria, then they're going to know, hey, today's a lunch and learn day. So I always have some sort of like branding that goes along with the lunch and learn and along with safety. So that way they know that I'm there. So that way, that is the signal for the lunch and learn, not necessarily the presentation board, the handout, or anything else. So that you have a branding signal that goes with it. Next, there are different things that you can do during these. So yes, you can do handouts. So think of like JJ Keller or BLR. They have those Toolbox Talks handouts. You could do those. That's fine. They do work, but when you do those every single week, it kind of gets like boring after a while. So maybe once a month you do those. You could do different types of games. So this one time, I love this idea. What I did is I printed out a picture of a paper doll. And then I printed out pictures of PPE on cardstock. And we put little Velcro on there and everything. We've got little Velcro on the paper doll. And then we had a fishbowl of all the different jobs within the facility. And the employee would walk up, they would pick something out of the fishbowl, and then they would have to put the proper PPE on my paper doll. And if they did it, they got a candy bar. It was so simple, but it taught them to know the different PPE and what was required for each job. And that was eye-opening and it was fun. And it took like less than 5 minutes for everybody. Another one that I love to do a lot, and this is especially important that you do this one a lot no matter what, is having them search for an SDS. So whether you are having them search within a book of SDSs, or in my case, I had a computerized system, so they had to know how to access the computer, use it, and look up the SDS. So once again, I did a fishbowl. All of our chemicals were in there. They would pick a chemical out of the fishbowl, and then they'd have to find the SDS and tell me the first aid measures. Because usually, if someone's looking for an SDS, they're looking for it in an emergency. So it's either a cleanup or a first aid issue. So I make them find that section and tell me about it. And then they got a candy bar. It's super simple and a lot of fun. Another one of my absolute favorite ones was on Amazon. You can actually buy a remote control forklift. So if you have forklifts in your facility, one of the things that we like to do with forklifts is, or around facilities, is to have like a forklift rodeo where you're having them drive the forklift through like an obstacle course, and the person that does it the fastest wins, right? Forklift rodeos can be extremely dangerous. So I kind of moved it down and said, okay, we'll do a forklift rodeo with a remote control forklift. How much freaking fun is that? I mean, it was so cool. I will tell you, the cheap remote control forklifts don't last very long, but that's okay. They're only like $20 or $30. Just go buy another one. And they come with pallets, and they come with boxes and all of that too. So you can have them like lift the pallet and move the pallet and all of that good stuff. So we would have them do the forklift, and, whoever got the best score for the day, won. And that one went over so well that people would play over and over and over again. And then you had everybody around the little course, and we created our course with just blue painter's tape on the floor. And everybody was around the course, and they would be yelling out the violations. So it was really cool. It's a great way to teach forklift safety. And the last one would be stretching. So we used to do that too. So we would do like, hey, we're doing a stretching break if you want to participate in the break room. And we would show them different stretches that they could do at home. Once again, we could use a fishbowl and pick out a job title and say what stretches are important to that job title based on the work that they do. And you could take pictures of that and then use them in your stretching program as well. So the important thing is, when you're doing these lunch and learns, you want to mix it up and you want to make it fun. Like, go out of your way to make it fun, because this is their lunch break. And if they are taking the time, the 5 to 10 minutes to sit with you during their lunch break, then make it fun for them and make it worth their while, right? So, maybe one week you just do a talk and you're just like, I got my flag, and today we're talking about HAZCOM. Or you do a demonstration, with a little forklift or something like that, the SDS search or something like that. And then maybe you have a presentation board one month. So, the presentation boards are so great because they can see them from far away, because you'll get people that will not participate, but they will still pay attention from far away. So with the presentation boards, they can kind of see what's going on, and you can leave it in the break room afterwards. So that way people can read it when you're not there. Because there are those introverts that aren't going to participate, but they still want the information. The problem, like I said, with the presentation boards is they take time to create. So if you did one a month, after a year, you would have 12. You do it again the next year, you'd have 24. The next year, you'd have 36. You get my meaning, right? So you could end up having more presentation boards over time. Then you just have a storage issue after that. So mix it up and make it fun. And this is what I will tell you. If you've never done these before and you start to do them, you're going to feel highly discouraged. You're going to go into the break room and nobody's going to pay attention. And you're going to do this week after week and still nobody's going to pay attention. And you're going to be like, why am I even doing this? Nobody cares. You're doing it because the consistency does matter, and they do care. And after a while, they will start participating. But if you do it for 2 to 3 weeks and then give up, it's just wasted cause then. So do know that it will take a while. This is just like building safety culture. It takes a while for people to come out of their shells and actually participate. But when you do it consistently, then they know, like, oh yeah, safety guy's going to be there every single week. So let me make sure that I see what he's talking about. Why don't, maybe they went 3 weeks without getting their card punched. And they're like, wait a minute, I spend 5 minutes, I get a card punched, and after 10 times I get, a gift card? Heck yeah, I'm going to do that. Right? So just make sure that you're consistent and don't give up. I would definitely give yourself at least 3 months before you decide this isn't working and I'm not going to do it. Right. So that means doing it 13 times before you reevaluate. And you can even track participation. You know how I am about analytics. You track it, you see what's working, right? You can even track the type of meeting that you did and see what's working, and then just do more of what's working. All right. Because I will tell you a story. I am an introvert like you would not believe. I love crowds. Don't get me wrong. Give me a crowded Irish pub and I am like super happy to be there. But I need to have that time to myself. And if I'm working and I'm on break, I don't want to be bothered. But I like to see that my company does stuff. So I personally am not one that participates in stuff like that, but I like to see that my company does it. And I do pay attention from afar. That's how I know that they're paying attention to you guys, because I know I am. You know, if HR is off in the corner doing something, I might slide by and pick up a handout or something. But just know that it is working, and just run your data and you'll see that it's working. Anyway, I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions, pop them in the comments below. If you like this stuff and you like talking about safety culture, management support, and how to become a safety leader yourself, make sure you are on my email list. So the easiest way to get on my email list is to go to thesafetygeek.com/5 ways. I will send you a great little freebie that will tell you the 5 ways to get your employees crazy about safety. There's some really unique ones in there. I got a great email this week from somebody about the foot in the door technique. So just saying, check those emails. All righty, guys. You have a great day and thank you so much. Bye-bye.